All right, everyone. Welcome, 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 my friends. I appreciate all of you for being here. The Think Bigger podcast today. Today, we're going to talk about your word. What is your word worth? Have you guys heard that saying or some version of it? What is your word worth? How much is your word worth? A man is only as good as his word. Well, in the social climate for being PC, man would be a capital M, mankind, both people, not just the males. But that's neither here nor there. So, a man is only as good as his word. What is your word worth? Let's talk about that. I guess for the car guys, this is the one that comes to mind pretty every so often, right? Especially given the new year, the New Year's resolutions, and so on and so forth. I think it's about 2, 3 months in that it starts making its circulation, right? But you know that meme with Mari Povich, and it's just got him just sitting there with like the that face, man. That he's like reading, and it said in 2019 or in 2018, and every year preceding it. You said that you were gonna kill the game, and the lie detector test has shown that that is a lie. How many of you guys have seen that meme, the Mari meme, right? For all the car guys, if you're not a car guy, if you're not a car person, just stick with me here. But think about that, right? It's a joke. Everyone has a good time with it, right? You said that you were going to kill the game, and the lie detector test shows that that was a lie. Why? Why is that funny to us? Why are comedy stand up skits, sketches, and entire comedy specials done where it's talking about stuff that has some truth in it. That's why jokes are funny to people. There's always some kind of truth, sometimes a lot of truth, but there's truth in a joke. And that's a joke. It's a joke because for the car guys, you have these different people online, forum days and now and this and that on social media, and the words that come out of their mouth, or at least in the sense of social media, is that they're going to do this. They're going to kill the game, right? They're going to change the game. And that's what they say that they're going to do, and it just somehow doesn't end up happening over and over and over again. Well, at what point in time would that person still need to be believed? If it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, whatever, and you have this person who said time and time again, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill the stance game. I'm going to kill the engine bay game. Game over. You got all of these different hashtags and sayings, right? But what is that? What is that? Let's talk about that. What is that? What game? And why is it that for some reason you are not actually doing that? And what we're trying to address here is the value of your word. Okay. So the car application's an easy one. All of my car guys here, I know you're laughing because that meme with Mari, or with anyone. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that meme, but we all know the people, the crews. A person comes to mind who you have either just, passing by on social media, you've seen it, you've read it, and you just kind of chuckle, right? Because you don't take him seriously. If you're the person who has said that and you haven't done it yet, let me guess, right? Family circumstances, money, uh, the the factors and the circumstances changed, right? That's why you weren't able to do it. Okay. So for everyone else, is that what happened? But the point of what happens around you and the effect around you is that regardless of the circumstances, You talked it up and didn't do it. Nobody around you, the people that you chose to say online or out loud that you were going to change this or change that or kill the game, nobody cares about your circumstances, which, by the way, are called excuses. There are going to be exceptions to the rule, right? There are real life family issues, money issues, health issues that happen to anyone and everyone. So, yes, there are legitimate reasons, but by talking, you have taken the power out of those reasons. Nobody's going to care. You woofed and woofed and said that you were going to do this and do that, and you haven't done it. Is this offending you? Well, it's not meant to offend you, it's meant to address the reality of it, okay? Your word, your words, I'm going to do something, and you didn't do it. You have taken the power out of your own words. What is your word worth? Nothing. Let's let that sink in. Whose fault is that? If you are thinking about all of the reasons why you couldn't, then there's a mindset that needs to be taken into consideration because you could have just done it without saying anything, right? Then you wouldn't have been, yeah, on record making a claim and then not doing it. So you didn't and wouldn't have removed the power out of your own words. But you chose to speak and you chose to put a caption and you chose to post and you didn't do it. You haven't done it. And I don't know, will you ever do it? Nobody's might even care at that point because you have taken the power out of your own words. That's why, don't talk about it, be about it, say less, do more, blah, blah, blah. All of those sayings, they're there for a reason. This isn't the car world, okay? That's just cars, that's just objects, right? It could be anything. But what about business? Let's talk about business. There was a time in life where you could conduct business, binding agreements, contracts, partnerships off of your word. The words that came out of your mouth, and they would be solidified with a handshake. And that was done. It was sealed. It was something called honor, right? Your word was strong. There were people whose reputation was based solely off of their actions backed up their words. So when they said, I will do this for you, and when they said, I will be your partner, I will do this, I will do that, people take their words seriously. What is their word or their words worth? Invaluable, incalculable. Why? Because of their actions, because of their reputation, which was built off of them doing what they say they're going to do. So they have value in what they say. Business. You could shake a man's hand even now, if you can't, if they're in another place, another country across the globe, you could, I don't know, Skype, video conference. You could just be on the phone and say, let's lock in this deal, and it's done. The honor system is there, and you two are partners in that endeavor. That's what your word is worth. In business, your word is everything. Because once you do that, it's trust. Okay? It's trust. What is your word worth? It's trust. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, why would someone trust you in business and in any context, right? I mean, let's just think about it, guys. This is one of those things that is so obvious to some people. A lot of the subjects that have ended up coming up in the Think Bigger podcast, you have one or two people out of 40, 50, 70, 90 comments in various places. You always have one or two people who say, this is ridiculous, man. Of course, it's obvious. I've gotten everything from that to what are you even talking about? People don't need to have a conversation about something so simple. Well, I mean, look around. Let's just look around, right? It's a compliment. You are in a different category than most people simply because it is obvious to you. It is so blatantly common sense or simple that the idea of discussing it is kind of idiotic to those one or two people, or at least those one or two people had it in them to comment, right? You're better off. I'm actually happy for you, putting the abrasiveness aside. I'm actually happy for you because it seems so clean, cut, crisp, and clear to you that the idea of even talking about it is stupid. Okay, so be it. Then you do you, and I would like to believe that you're going to be solid and better off. But it's not that simple for everyone. Or if it is, they haven't heard it stated from maybe a third party, you know? Their life experiences have gotten to them to a certain point, and sometimes hearing something from someone who went through the same or even entirely different circumstances and has drawn a conclusion, and when they hear it, it 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 opens up a window, a door in their head, and if they have the maturity to be objective, they will sit back and say, you know what, I'm gonna look into that more. And speaking of that, I've gotten a lot of messages, and I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of them. I got one the other day, and here is a quote. To be honest, I used to not like you. I believe the reason why is because you dish out the truth, and we all know the truth can sting. But I need more of the truth dished out to me as I realize in order to grow as a person. So after I watched a few of your YouTube videos, listened to the podcast, and putting my pride aside, I was able to understand your messages and to take them with an open mind and incorporate small changes in my life. Thank you. Okay, that is an adult man who took the time to send me that message. That's 8, 10 sentences. It's a full paragraph or two placed in a message, typed out, and sent. That person, I mean, there's a lot of honesty there. There's a lot of maturity and a lot of honesty. Okay. To be honest, I used to not like you. And then the next statement is, I believe the reason why is because what you say is the truth. And we all know the truth can sting, but I need more of it dished out to me as I realize I need to grow as a person. So this person is displaying a large amount of maturity and growth in just being objective. Because here's the thing, you could objectively listen to anyone, you know? This morning I was talking with one of my good friends about how on a post on Instagram, I got tagged with some people that the compliment of being put in that same category as them in the eye and the mind of any person is very big, right? And you're talking about Andy Frisella, you're talking about Ed Milet. You guys know who Ed Milet is, and you have Bedros Keuilian. Okay, so Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, Bedros Keuilian, and it was Bedros. He has a post, and this comment is from a gentleman who tagged Andy Frisella, tagged Ed Milet, tagged Bedros Keuilian, and tagged the Big Mike. And he said, your guys' podcast is my mentorship for me, and I appreciate you guys." Okay. Now, I definitely know who Andy Frisella is solely because the name has been brought up to me, and has popped up on my Explore page and things like that over time. The other two gentlemen, they actually haven't. And that might seem crazy for some of you that I had no idea who they were because I move in a very interesting way. Everyone has a method that they utilize. And interestingly enough, for me, is I don't follow a bunch of Twitter accounts or YouTube channels or Instagram pages Um, I just don't. I don't allow certain things to enter my mind, because I don't want it to taint my mind. And when I did, for example, when I sat down with the people at Discovery Network, and we talked about doing various projects, and one of them was to do a stint, a couple episodes for them on a Monday night. They said, "Have you heard of this show? And have you heard of these people?" And I said, um, "I've heard of the show, and I've heard of one of those people." And they kind of were like, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, have you watched the show?" And I said, "No." Um, said, "Oh, okay, that's very interesting." I said, "I don't watch television, and I don't watch reality television." And I said, "Okay, well, when you do this, if you agree, we'll go over, paperwork and creative ideas and background and stuff, of course. But if you agree to do it, are you going to watch any of the episodes prior to going?" And I said, "No." That method might seem weird to people, but for me, it was like I don't want to have a preconceived notion, especially not one that's been placed through the filter of quote unquote reality television. I don't want to have an idea of who people are through that filter, because that's not who they are. Most likely, that's not who they are. So I went into it without ever really even hearing any of them speak. And I wanted to just meet, converse, and base my interactions on the way I was treated and my personal real life experience, not television. So back to this, when it comes to these types of like famous entrepreneurs and podcasters and motivational speakers, which I don't consider myself to be any of those things. I am your peer. I am a fellow human being living life and experiencing it with its ups and downs. And the only difference between myself and you is that maybe the age, maybe the experience level, but the only difference is that I've learned to be objective, and all I want to do is share that with people, learn from people, sit down and have a conversation with people, and you're open minded, and the only difference is that I get to speak to you guys here. And ideally, we'll be able to sit down together, each and every one of us, in some context at some time soon. And we can, as they used to say, break bread together. We can have a conversation in real life. And the easiest supplement until that happens is to utilize social media. And so I have a ton of people who comment on YouTube, um, Instagram, email, etc. I have a bunch of events that I'm attending this year in 2019. There's about 16 different trips planned. And so at all of those cities or states or countries that I go to, I spend time interacting with the people there. So for a list of the schedule for the stops coming up in 2019, from the West Coast to the East to the South to across the pond, UK, England, Belgium, Indonesia, you name it. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. And if you're anywhere near that place, that area, I very much would appreciate that if I can get myself all the way over there, that you find your time to come to the event that I'm a part of, and let's talk in person. So, what is your word worth? That's what we're about right here. So, in this age of social media, right? Let's talk about that. Everyone's moving 100 miles an hour all the time. Everyone's busy. Everyone's busy. Half the time, I'm not 100% sure what we're all so busy doing, but we're busy, right? Everyone feels like they don't have enough time. Everyone's in a rush, right? So, communication has been expedited because of technology. Everything is fast and quick and efficient. And so you can make a plan with somebody, and at the last second, because of how quickly you can send that message, you can cancel on them. Because what? Because circumstance? Because something came up, right? Are you telling them the truth? Do you even really, did you ever really want to go do wherever you were saying you were going to do, or go wherever you were saying you were going to go? I mean, you know that there's another, speaking of memes, it's kind of funny that we're using memes right now, because I have people who send me all kinds of stuff, and because I don't follow any of these like meme generating pages on social media, they're all new to me. Um and to me it's funny because I don't expose myself to this constant barrage of memes and all those types of things and gifts, you know. I have one of my friends. I've known the guy for, you know, almost 20 years, and he's a good guy, you know. I know his wife, his two sons are my nephews, and he's an intelligent, educated man, but he listens to and watches the most ridiculous amount of nonsense that I have seen one person ingest. And that's not a judgment on him. If I felt that type of way about it, if I was judging him as a person, I wouldn't give him my time. I wouldn't go spend time with him and the boys, and you know, and hug them, tell them, you know, good night when I sit down with him in the kitchen and living room to talk. You know, I try to see them even weekly. I wouldn't, you know, hug his wife, and you know, we don't sit down and have some tea for a few minutes before she goes and takes care of her sons. My point in bringing it up is that it it is so far beyond my comprehension, because this is an educated adult, but the amount of completely useless, mindless entertainment is what I think it's going to end up being factored in. Entertainment that he allows into his ears and his eyes is so incredibly difficult for me to understand. And he sends me stuff on message in Instagram, and some of it is hilarious, right? But in the midst of some of those memes and those gifs and those, you know, whatever they are, you know, like snippets of a video of, I don't know if it's a YouTube account, or people on Instagram have accounts where they do nothing but like, I don't know, anything from pranks to just like skits. That's like a big thing now. Everyone's an actor on social media doing skits. And it makes me laugh because I know people that aren't doing skits in the context of what we think they are, but every one of their Instagram posts is an act. That's probably a whole different podcast episode. But it's just, you have all these memes and gifs, and each one of those things creates this joke, or makes fun of something that there is a basis of truth for. So we talked about the car guys, right? You know, I'm going to kill the game. I'm changing the game. Game over, blah, 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 blah. And nobody cares anymore. No one believes you. And, and the question is just, should they? Right? If there's always some kind of reason why you haven't done what you said you're going to do, you have taken the power out of your own word, and no one with any sense is going to take you seriously. Car guys, any people, right? So that's for the car stuff. Business, same thing. If someone were to even want to shake your hand, right? Should they believe you? What is your reputation? Do you have? Have you built a reputation? You have a bunch of people trying to have a reputation, and they haven't done anything yet, right? You can't build a reputation off something you haven't done yet. You have all these people acting like they should be taken seriously when they haven't earned any right to be looked at like that. That's just the way the world works. I mean, fair, not fair, young, old, it really doesn't matter, okay? But the point here is if you haven't done something yet, if you haven't built up your word, or the value of your word, your accomplishments behind those words. Why would and should anyone take you seriously? So we have the car guys, we have business. What about socially? Okay, so we're talking about you make plans with someone, your friends, right? Your plans are to meet somewhere, to do something. And then at the last second, because we're so busy, you send a text. Can't make it, something came up. Sorry. All right? Okay. Cool. That's life. Things come up. Um what about the next time? And what about the time after that? How many of you guys can think of someone in your circle? Maybe you were already thinking about it business wise. I know my car guys were thinking of people car wise, build wise, right? But how about friends socially? How many of you guys had someone come to mind, or maybe you're sort of starting to think it might be you? Forget forget the justification. Something came up, I ran out of time, I got out of work late. What I want you to try to do is to understand it from the other perspective, okay? Because from the outside looking in, you don't do what you say you're going to do. Or for those of you who are thinking about someone else, that person is chronically leaving you all disappointed, right? So, in this day and age, we can efficiently communicate and we just efficiently say, I can't make it. Sorry. Before the age of this social media and digital communication, when you made plans with somebody, right? Oh, I'll meet you at the mall on Friday at 5 p.m. or after school or whatever, right? You didn't have a way to cancel. You didn't want to cancel, but you didn't have a way to flake. That was the plan and you stuck to it because your person, your friend was going to be there and you can't just leave them there. And the simplicity of how that plays out is a big thing. Nobody roll your eyes for the younger guys like, "Oh, here we go, referencing a time without cell phones." This is the reality of it. Is that whether you have a cell phone and internet or not, right? If you make a plan and you don't stick to it, at some point in time, no one, not even yourself, is going to take you seriously. Okay? Everyone has that one thing that ends up being what gets in the way. I get it. We're all thinking about that. But for the sake of understanding what's going on around you, the business that you were going to do something for, if you were a sponsored for my car peeps, if you were sponsored by someone and you got that sponsorship based on um, an idea, a deadline that the car would be finished for something, and you didn't, does it matter? Should it matter to the person that you engaged in that business transaction with? Should it matter to them? What happened that prevented you from doing it? So a lot of car terms. I mean, this is a big thing in the car world, but it's for everything, right? If you made an agreement with a company that they would give you X amount off or would give you this item for free or whatever, and you don't finish the car, which is one of the bullets of the reason why you got that relationship started, what is your word worth after that? I mean, that's not a complex thing, right? Yes, there are reasons something happened. They don't care. They shouldn't have to care. Your friends, if you flake on somebody who's help who needed your help, who you made plans to, if you flaked, should they believe you? It's trust, guys. It's just trust. Why would anyone trust you? If they don't believe you, that means they don't trust you. One of the most powerful things you can say to somebody is, I promise. Parents, you look in your children's eyes and you tell them, I promise I something. You look in the love of your life's eyes and say, I promise. Friends, business, I promise Is there any worth to that? Do they believe you? Should they believe you? What about you? Call it a promise, call it a resolution. It's synonymous, right? New Year's resolution. Did you make that same one last year? There again, we bring up the whole internet lingo, new year, new me. The whole joke about I don't want to see any new year, new me when you're going to continue being the same person you were before. That's another thing. Meme terms, everyone gets it, right? Well, there you go. Jokes and laughs about truth, right? People are like, "All right, yeah, 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 you already said that." Perfect example. Nobody believes you. Now, your personal fight and struggle with whatever that is that to make more money? Is it to finish your car? Is it to get swole, lose weight, whatever it is, right? I'm not downplaying the struggle. I'm not trying to make fun of the struggle. What I am trying to get you to understand is that the effect of chronic and consistent failure in one area, when you are telling either yourself and you are promising yourself or the people around you, is that the value of your word, you are taking it away. And that's something that you have to be willing to accept. And that could be the catalyst for change right there, okay? Now, it breaks down into pieces, right? If there is a goal, right? If there's a dream, then you turn the dream into a goal. You need a plan to make a goal a reality, and so on and so forth, right? So, how are you going to go about it? What are you going to do to change it? That is the next step. But you first have to realize that you might be the person in the group that everyone sort of just rolls their eyes at when you say you're going to do something. And that should be of major concern, right? If you contact companies to work with on your car build and they sit down and they're like, I guess, which by the way, that happens. What what are you in life if the people around you are just like, okay, if that's their answer, I'm gonna do this, man. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna kill the game. All right, man. Yeah, yeah. For sure, dog. Yeah, yeah. I got you, dog. Yeah, no doubt, dude. Yeah, you are. Your own friends don't give a damn. They don't believe you. And the question you have to ask yourself is, should they? Business, cars, friends. What about your loved ones? What about your kids? For the people that are parents, right? What is your word worth to the little ones? Maybe they're not even little anymore. Maybe they're big. But I mean, whether you want to call it discipline, spanking, timeout, whatever methods you as a parent choose to utilize, if you say, if you do that again, you're going to be in trouble. The first time that you don't follow up with that, your child already knows. You do that a couple more times, and your word has absolutely no more power anymore. Okay? I know some of the parents right here are like, okay, yeah, it's not that easy. I'm not saying it is. But I mean, you just need to be aware that with your friends, with business transactions, socially, that's just how it is, guys. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that what I'm saying is stupid? Do you think that it doesn't make any sense? Or do you get it? I mean, comment. By all means, I answer everyone. Let's talk about it. But, children are some of the smartest people on the earth, man. They absorb everything. They learn and they know so quickly. That's why one parent, is the one that the kids know who to ask to say yes, and the other one's always the one that says no, right? Which you had the old school way where a mom would be like, "Do I have to tell your father?" And kids would immediately be like, "Oh, no, 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 no," and they go run and do with it whatever they needed to do, right? Or you have a father saying, "If I have to get up off this couch, or if I need to repeat myself," there was a time where if you even said, "If I have to say this twice, if I have to come up there, if I have to come over there and tell you again," kids knew, people knew, and that translates to when you're an adult, right? Because that word from your parent, right, or in any other context, your friend, your business partner, it meant something. It was powerful. And people are taking the power out of their own words, which, by the way, also takes the power out of your presence. There are people who will enter a room and everyone will look at them. Everyone will be drawn to them, you know. Take more extreme examples, right? Since we're talking about, motivational people, You have like a man, who's one of the first people to do it? Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins is this like humongous dude with like a big personality and very like enthusiastic and charismatic, right? Enters a room, and if you watch these specials over the years, people are drawn, right? Drawn. Now you look at like let's see who's someone that's popular right now. Um, Gary V, right? By the way, people asked me if I knew who that was, and up until recently, I had no idea who that was. And I think people thought that was actually super weird, but it isn't, because, like I said, I have a certain way of going about things. I don't want to be tainted by what I see or hear, and I don't have as much time as I'd like to sit there and filter through the 50 pages that have the highest views or channels or speeches, and sometimes I feel like I miss out on some great stuff, but I also don't end up having to filter through and wade through all the nonsense, but that's something that I'm allocating more time for, is to take the time to listen to some of these people who are polarizing and enthusiastic. I mean, people say the thing about Gary Vee is that he's abrasive and he curses a lot, but there's a point to the message, and there are people who are turned off by that and they think he's a douchebag, and that's just the way it is. Though people are going to have reactions to people in different ways. Some of might be warranted, and some of it is where they need to stop and think about themselves and for themselves, but it's just I don't know what to say about some of these people, solely because I haven't listened to them, but I know who some of them are. More recently, I've spent more time listening. I have a couple of friends who've put me on to different groups or names, and I've started to read more books and listen to more things. Commuting or cleaning at the house or something like that. And there's a wealth of information out there, and there's so much content on social media. There's so many things to listen to and watch that I value and appreciate all of you guys taking the time to listen to this. It's about conversation, it's about objective growth and learning together. It's not about somebody being better than another person. That's not what this is. This is not about that. This is about conversations of adults with each other, and that's what it's about. It's at the podcast on iTunes or Apple Podcast is 5-star rating. You know, and there's a reason for that. The comments people are putting in here are amazing, because we're just talking to each other. And speaking about that, I've been seeing a couple of people ask. Yes, there will be guests. What a lot of people don't realize is how complex the logistics can be. Like we talked about, everyone's busy. Uh, Getting people in the same place together at a time in which, you know, my schedule, their schedule works out is far more difficult than people realize. And there are so many highly experienced, intelligent people with invaluable information and conversations that I've had with them at different times, or intend to have with them. And the idea of recording it is incredible, and I want you guys to be able to hear what they have to say. But what's gonna end up happening is, you know what I'm probably gonna do, guys? I'm probably gonna end up just having them call in, and we'll do it that way. I mean, the sound, it might not be the best in the world, but you're definitely gonna be able to hear them. And I'll put them on speaker, and I'll poll beforehand, get a bunch of questions from you guys via Instagram story, Instagram polls, Instagram posts, the comments, Instagram live. That's the best way to communicate with me. and I'll take your guys' questions and comments for myself and for that guest coming up, and we'll have a conversation. It'll just be ideally with them here, but if it can't be that way, so be it. We'll have them call in and we'll communicate. And that's how we're going to do that. So yes, there are a ton of guests. Okay, everything from the automotive industry and otherwise. There are so many people who have personal experiences that have led them to be where they are. And I think you guys would value very much what they have to say. Young guys, older guys, car guys, fitness guys, family members, etc. There's so many people, and all of our experiences have led us to become different types of people, different levels of success. And one of the primary fundamental things that separates one from another is their worth. What is your word worth? When somebody says that person is coming to do this, does anyone believe it? Should they? Okay. If somebody says, I have so and so on board, does that make other people perk up and say, what? Oh, they're part of this? I want to be a part of it. If they co sign, then I know something's good. You understand what I'm saying, you guys? All of that builds up to the value, okay? Now, there are the people who don't say anything and you just look at their actions, their progress, okay? Social media gives people the opportunity to talk too damn much. Do you talk too much? Might not even be with your mouth, it might be with your thumbs, your fingers, with the comments on social media. Are you typing out too much? Do you just speak? It kind of goes back to one of the other episodes. I mean, do you just say things or do things without thinking about them, or do you, and is that okay to you? Then once again, your value in the things that you say is gone. You've made yourself a point of comedy, of entertainment, or people just roll their eyes at you. I mean, how sad is it as a grown man that other grown men, when you speak or when they see your, I don't know, screen name, that that people, legitimate people who are established, who have accomplished things, will look at you and just be like, "Here we go again." Okay? Are you a troll? Do you think you're funny? Do you make your friends laugh? Do you screenshot stuff and send it to each other? Do you send posts and tag your friends in it so that you and your little circle can make fun of a person who has accomplished more than you? Are you doing that online? If you're doing that online, take the time to be open to the possibility that there are other more valuable things you can be doing with your time. If you are making fun of somebody who is more accomplished than you, you're an idiot. And if you're making fun of somebody who's less accomplished to you than you're an asshole. Do you see what I'm saying? How about you just work on you? If you worked on you as much as you entertained yourself and your friends, you'd probably be better off. This is the reality of it, okay? This is the reality of it, you guys. We all need to grow together and help each other, right? We have experiences that another person hasn't gone through, pain. Sometimes very painful experiences, hurt. And you can help another person not have to experience it, right? Wisdom, maturity. But if you're over there talking about, I got it and I'm me and I'm good and I don't need anyone else, all right, well then, I very, very sincerely wish you the best. Do you? And, I'm not the type to wish negatively on anyone. But the idea of just stopping and being objective about the value of your word. I'm going to do something. Should your spouse, should your business partners, should your friends, should your children, should the people who hear or read you say something, should they take you seriously? Should they believe you? That's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking you guys, when you type out or post or say with your mouth to someone or people, I'm this and I'm going to do that, do people believe you? Should people believe you? What is your word worth? Or is it worth anything anymore? That's the question. Comment if you're listening on YouTube, comment below. Let's talk about it. Instagram. This is on Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes. I appreciate you guys. This is about growth. This is about conversation. Talk amongst each other. Talk to me, and let's have a conversation and look at the subjects that we're all going through in life together. Okay, I value you. I appreciate you. Think Bigger podcast, branch of the Think Bigger project. Take the time to go to thinkbiggerproject.com. Once again, the the DMs that I get, the messages are so amazing, and I read them all. It takes me a little bit of time, guys. I do that on my spare time. There are other things going on in life. I do my best to not be attached to my phone or to a computer, but I utilize it and I will get back to you, okay? I value your input. I value your time. Thank you for all of the comments and conversations, okay? What is your word worth? And if it isn't worth anything, it's time to change that. Okay? I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys again soon.